Hi, Tranquil. We were discussing if you could choose your feelings, and you can choose your feelings. Now, I know that's hard for a lot of people. They don't want to hear that. It's offensive. But before we get into the reaction, the emotional reaction we might have to that, I think a lot of that reaction is due to a misconception about choices in the first place. I mean, people think of choice as totally free choice. Nothing's totally free, right? Like they think of it like you go into Baskin Robbins and 31 flavors and you can have any kind of ice cream you want. But I can't, right? Because I don't want the ice cream at Baskin Robbins. All 31 flavors, none of them is my favorite flavor of ice cream. So, there's always a limit to choices. But you do have choices of how to feel, even just naturally. I mean, there's a lot of things where, for example, an exciting situation, novel situation, often you will have both a feeling of eagerness and wanting to embrace it, and also a fear, trepidation for some reason. Let's say a beautiful woman's coming on to you. Both of those feelings can come simultaneously. Or let's say that you're a married man, so you have the feeling of, yeah, I want to go for this, but you also have a fear because you don't want to cheat on your spouse. So you have to choose how you're going to feel. Now, you can only make that choice if there's some balance between the feelings that you have, but there are ways to change the strength of a particular idea using your intellectual, your forebrain. Let's say you're in that situation and you have mostly the urge to go for it. Well, by not acting on that immediately, you can increase the weight, you can increase the strength of the fear by visualizing your time with your family, visualizing the time you spend with your kids and your family and what you might be doing to that by being unfaithful. And you can increase the strength of that until it's strong enough to choose it if you want to. We often think about choices without reference properly to time. After you jump out of the airplane, you're like, I can't choose not to jump out of the airplane. Yeah, that choice was in the past. So any choice we're talking about now is going to be a choice about in the future. So that raises the question of how long in the future. So to choose how you feel doesn't mean necessarily right now, boom, poof, I just feel the way I want. It means to figure out a way to get to what you want in the future, to choose a path to a particular feeling. Now, if you can visualize the feeling, then I believe you can probably get there. Now, the way that in a short-term situation you have to decide between feelings that already exist for you means that you have to prepare yourself. If you want to be able to choose a particular feeling in a particular situation, you're going to have to be able to visualize that situation, meaning you're going to have gone through that situation in the past, and you're going to have to visualize a realistic reaction, a realistic feeling. Let's say you get in fights a lot and people come up to you and you take what they say the wrong way, maybe the right way even, but you just take it in an angry way, and you want to change that. Well, you're going to have to imagine being in those situations at your friend's house or wherever it's happening and taking this other path. And you can't be all la-di-da about it. It's going to have to be realistic. You're going to have to think of something that you could tell yourself that you will really listen to when you're in that kind of mood, and be very realistic. And if you do that, when the time comes, you will have your anger feeling probably that you're already generating, and the other part of your mind with this other sensitivity that you've set up by visualizing the situation and then feeling a certain way. The situation will come and you'll feel some phantom of how you felt, and if it's strong enough, you'll be able to choose it among the feelings that come up, in proportion to how much you can use your front part of your brain to give yourself some time to choose, right? To be less impulsive, but to bring your impulses onto a stage where you could compare and weigh and amplify the one that you intellectually would like to go with. And you might find you don't have enough energy to amplify the one that you just somehow know you should do. But you might have to always face the fact that maybe you are choosing to feel the way you choose right now, and maybe there's a good reason. Maybe there's a very good reason you have to choose that. And if it's not acceptable, and yet there's a good reason, then you need to look at changing the situation that you're in, because it must be the situation making a logical conclusion for you, basically, that really is the best solution for the situation you're in, and thus there's nothing to do but change the situation. But I strongly believe you can choose, and the real confusion is only on what that means. There is no absolute freedom. Choices don't mean magic power, you can't choose anything. You have to choose among realistic things, but you can make things realistic. You can make things more likely. You can increase the probability of choosing a particular mood or feeling, and of course you can do that. This is my position. I know people disagree, but it's my personal experience. Now, sometimes people ask me for a scientific proof, but see, a scientific proof would be saying that you could choose your feelings in a third-person kind of way. And I know I've said that, but that's why I'm clarifying that. This is my experience, and I've talked to people that have had this experience, so I have reason to believe it's shared. But ultimately, it's not something that in science you prove, because science doesn't really say anything yet about which part of behavior is the will. So how's it going to say whether you can do something or not? It can't. You have to see, well, I've struggled to do this, and then I did it, and test it for yourself. It's so the empirical evidence is me choosing to feel certain ways about certain things, and it can make you seem or appear cold. I mean, the main problem with choosing how you feel in this society is somehow that's supposedly dishonest. You're just supposed to go natural. I think it's natural to go ahead and choose how you feel. Cheers.